mock draft. That's right. We're going to mock draft using Sleeper. I'm going to pick the 4 spot today. Mock draft from the 4 spot. I will give you guys a link in a second when it's ready to go live. I'm going to let the room kind of fill up. What's up, Carlos? Carlos is first to the room. You often are first, Carlos, if I can remember correctly. We're going to mock draft right now. We're going to mock draft, and we're going to mock draft the right way, right before your 2019 fantasy football draft. And I'm going to do it from the 4 spot. And we're going to talk a lot about strategy. What's up, DeMar? We're going to talk a lot about when do you reach on a player. This particular mock draft, I'm going to go over strategy more than the other mock drafts. So, what's up, Sand? So get ready to mock draft, people. I'm going to take this 4 spot. Boom. Okay, so if you're over on YouTube, Instagram, get on over to youtube.com/thefantasyfootballshow or enjoy what you can see, at least from here, if you want to stay over there. What's up, Max? What's up, Jason? What's up, John? What's up, Sam? What's up, DeMar and Carlos? Hit that thumbs up on your way in, and let's get to mock drafting. Let me copy this link and invite all of you guys to it. I'm going to paste this link in. First come, first serve. The spots will go quick. Are you ready? Boom. Invite sent in the chat on youtube.com/thefantasyfootballshow. I'll even post it right here if I can. Boom. That's the chat. Or the link to Sleeper. I don't think you can click it inside, but you'll have to type that in. You probably won't get in fast enough. Look at, we're already full. I think we're full. Nope, we got a couple spots left. Mock drafting with all of you. I'm from the 4 spot. I want to see what I can come up with from the 4 spot. Got a couple spots left. We're full up until pick 9, pick 11, pick 12. And again, I'm going to talk a lot about strategy. When to reach, when to not reach. What is a good reach, what is a bad reach. Who to look out for, who's climbing, who's falling. I'm going to do a lot of analysis in here versus just worry about my team. So it's going to be a big video, probably one of the best mock draft videos that I've ever done because there's going to be a lot of strategy involved in this talk. So let's get to it. 1 spot left. Surprised it lasted that long there. It's gone. It's gone. If you missed out, I feel bad for you because I told you to get on over, but you can still watch and have fun. So let's start the draft. Boom. We are on the clock. Drummond is up. I'm at the 4 spot, and I'm going to talk a lot about strategy. What is good? What is bad? What should you do? When should you do it? I picked the 4 spot because I assume that Zeke Elliott will fall to me there. If he doesn't, that's fine. But I think that you're going to let Zeke fall to the 4 spot at this point. Even I would take McCaffrey ahead of him right now. But I want to talk about why I'm continuing to take Zeke at the 4 spot. And that's because if you pair him to Tony Pollard, 14 starts. And here I'm on the clock. Zeke's there. I'm taking Zeke. 14 starts plus Tony Pollard is going to give you top 1 to 3 running back numbers. And if you start Tony Pollard for 2 games, 1 game, it doesn't matter. He's going to be serviceable enough. He looks really good. They trust him. They're going to use him a ton. You're gonna clean up at that spot. And you might even freakishly get a healthier Zeke playing 14 games. I'm not saying I want that. I hope he signs. I haven't even checked the news the last hour because I'm doing all kinds of crap trying to get ready for this mock draft and all that. So if something has happened in the last hour, let me know. A lot of times we have stuff break while we're in a draft. We do so many lives here on the Fantasy Football Show that a lot of stuff breaks while we're on it. David Johnson went number 5. DeAndre Hopkins went 6. I like Hopkins at 5, but I don't blame anybody if they want to go running back taking David Johnson at 5. I like Hopkins at 5. Lev Bell went 7. You can't argue that. Gramps took Devontae Adams at 8. You can't argue that. Odell, you won't see go this high unless you're drafting in a league with all of us. Like-minded people that see the value in Odell. Odell moving from crappy team to insane environment where he is going to be spoon-fed amazing targets, good thrown balls, and a lot of red zone opportunities. A healthy Odell could be in the cards in 2019 because he's a happy Odell. He's playing with his best friend Jarvis Landry. He's been working out hard, getting ready. That oftentimes will lead to a more healthy season. Nick Chubb going at 1.110 is not uncommon at this point. Mike Thomas falls into the second round a lot. He's a steal in the second round. And you're not going to get him falling that far in leagues that we do because we're all like-minded. Juju at 12. I see Juju falling to the second pick, first pick in the second round, which is good. Cook falling to 2.01. I'm surprised he fell that far. Tyreek Hill, 2.2 is solid value. Julio, 2.3 is about right. I'm not calling bust for Julio, but I like to take him around this spot versus up where you're taking Adams, Odell, Mike Thomas, and Juju. I personally just like those wide receivers better, more touchdown opportunity, less chance of potentially getting hurt. Travis Kelce makes sense on paper, but I don't take Kelce in the first or second round. It leaves you too thin at running back and wide receiver. It's one thing to go like wide receiver, and then leave yourself thin at running back. That's one position. It's another to go tight end. Dodger with the poopsie. Dodger, if you missed it on the live stream, the 24-hour live stream I did, about 4 or 5 hours in, a dog Dodger took a dump all over the house, in the hallway, in the living room, in the kitchen. Wow. It was everywhere. And look at Pat Mahomes getting sniped for me. I'm on the clock right here. I've got Mix in there. I've got Gurley, Antonio Brown, Damian Williams. So right here at this point, I'm going Damian. I'm not worried about Damian. You shouldn't be either. After what Damian did with that reception, he took house in the preseason. Yes, please hit the thumbs up, as Chuck said. It's time to believe in this guy. If you don't, you shouldn't have been doubting him to begin with because of a freaking injury. And after 6 straight games of being amazing and not faltering once, and you're doubting Damian Williams because there's talk about Darwin. I love Darwin, so let me address both points. You're probably wondering, well, Smitty, you reach for Darwin all the time. Darwin is one of the best standalone players to draft if you don't have Damian even. In fantasy football in 2019, when you talk about players outside of like round 6, 7, 8, that direction, he's one of the best players to grab because he has top 5 running back appeal. Dodger doo-doo. But Damian has a lock, a kung fu grip on that starting job in Kansas City. A, because it's extremely complex. Darwin, as good as Darwin is, couldn't possibly even come close to knowing that offense. Just like Damian, when he stepped in fourth to last game, didn't know the whole offense. They had to cater around the fact that he didn't know too much. So Damian, okay, so I'm on the clock again. So we had Damian, Todd Gurley, Joe Mixon, Adam Thielen, Kerryon Johnson, Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen go. So I have my choice between Kittle, Jacobs is there. Where did Monty go? James Conner, David Montgomery went 2.7. So I have a tough dilemma here. Quarterbacks, I'm not taking a quarterback here because Mahomes is gone. He's the only QB that I consider, and I do. I definitely consider him at 2.10. I don't care what people think of that. I don't like the running backs here aside from Melvin Gordon. I'm going to go with Kittle. Let's go 0 wide receiver. Let's try it. From this spot, let's see what we can do 0 wide receiver, meaning we're not taking a wide receiver until round 4 or later. Most likely we will in round 4, but let's see what kind of team we can assemble with Zeke, Damian, and Kittle. So Damian is locked in place into that starting role. By default, de facto running back 1 in Kansas City, as long as he's healthy. This whole talk about, oh God, he's kind of banged up, he's falling behind. No, you don't fall behind in a Kansas City Chiefs offense because it's so complicated. It takes you a whole half a season, if not a whole year, to really learn it. Damian Williams is probably still learning things and trying to get it down. So Darwin's going to be extremely far behind, Hyde so much further behind. Height is an afterthought. But that doesn't mean that Darwin Thompson doesn't have win a league potential all on his own right in the middle of your draft come mid-season, because the one thing Damian has going against him, the only thing, is if he were to get hurt. He's not going to lose the job. He looks fantastic in the preseason. Don't listen to any of the doubt. But the duo is needed if you're going to draft him. So for me, I need to have Darwin Thompson. Now, it's a mock draft. I'm not going to reach. If someone wants to snipe me in the Sleeper U and the Fantasy Football Show mock draft, because we are, again, in a world where we all take players. Unfortunately, it kind of affects the mock draft data in the draft a little bit, but we all take players a little earlier than we should because we all want them. Like, look at David Montgomery going in the second round. You won't find that outside of the Fantasy Football Show and SleeperU.com. SleeperU.com, thefantasyfootballshow.com. Learn about both if you don't already know. And if you just joined us, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, make sure you're notified when we do mock drafts so you don't miss out on joining the next mock draft. So again, back to Kelsey. Too early for me, but you can make it work. James Conner, I'm not taking him in the second round this year. I'd maybe take him at the very tail end of the second round. You got to make sure you cuff him. But there's a lot of red flags and reasons to be concerned. You've heard a lot of my stuff on that. So rare, you took Bell, then you took Evans. Evans is a great second rounder. Diggs is a pretty decent third rounder. Given the players that were left, that was a pretty decent grab. Hopkins and then David Montgomery. You went early on Montgomery, but you got Jacobs as well. That's an interesting team you have there. David Johnson, Pat Mahomes. I like Pat Mahomes. I don't care. I don't care if people think that's early. You get so many points from Pat Mahomes. You'll probably score 75 to 100 more points than anybody else at the position. Don't worry about the haters. Riff dropping the super chat. Thank you, Riff. You rock, my friend. Riff says half PPR Wentz, McCaffrey, Fournette, Mike Evans, Woods, Galladay, Ingram, Jags, Greg. Let me see if I can switch I think my Wi-Fi was getting slow there. Switched over to Ethernet there. Darwin, good job. I like that team. Am I almost on the clock here? Nope. So you got Wentz, you got C-Mac, Fournette. Not a huge Fournette fan, but he's easy to sell high right now. If you believe in him, stick to your guns, trust your gut. I'm not always right just because I doubt Fournette, but I really do not like Fournette. I like that team. Darwin's a great player to have. Melvin Gordon I just saw on your bench. That's fantastic. That's a great team. Now that I know you have Melvin Gordon, dude, you're lit. Consider Fournette for like I don't know. I mean, consider like an Antonio Brown. Consider some kind of crafty move to get a wide receiver in there once Melvin Gordon comes back. But you can wait on Fournette, let Fournette gain some value. Great job. It's an awesome team. Thank you for the super chat. You rock. On the clock. So I've got Elliott, Damian Williams, Kittle. I love this team so far. I love those three. I know I'm thin at wide receiver. Let's just take a look at running back. Nobody stands out anyways. I like quarterback there. Amari Cooper. I don't think you can get better than Cooper or Woods falling here. T.Y. Hilton's falling. I don't take T.Y. Hilton in round 3. I would consider him at the end of round 4 in this situation because I don't have a wide receiver yet. But Amari Cooper is the no-brainer for me at this point. Elliott, Damian Williams, George Kittle, Amari Cooper. I would, if all of you wanted to do a league with this, I would do it because I'm so happy with this team. Freaking fantastic. I love this roster. I'd take this roster into battle any day of the week. Melvin Gordon got sniped right before me because Sand knows I would take him. Sand also took Pat Mahomes. Sand, I don't even want to draft with you at this point anymore. I'm kidding. In the mocks, I don't care. But I don't know if I'd invite you into my leagues because you would just take my guys over and over, which is good. You're learning who I like, and that's a good owner to know his competition. So, Sand, you're showcasing your skill. I'm just saying, you own Mahomes. You take Gordon. You keep sniping me, Sand. It's just not right. I'm kidding. So, Hilton went. Woods went. Aaron Rodgers went. Calvin Ridley went. Deshaun Watson went. I'm getting sniped with my QBs. Usually I would go QB here. I'd anchor my team. who are the QBs that are left. So Baker would be really early here. But we'll have to see who's available. So wide receiver, I still need a wide receiver. Cup's there. A lot of people like Cup. Boyd, Green, Landry, Mike Williams, Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon's ADP is so high. It's skyrocketed. Sorry, guys, if you're in the chat and I'm not talking. I'm trying to mock draft here. I'm over on youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. What's up, analyst? Analyst in the house. So Deshaun Watson just went. For those of you on Instagram, my team is Ezekiel Elliott, Damian Williams, George Kittle, Amari Cooper fell to me to my fourth pick, so I was able to get a good wide receiver considering my zero approach. You know what? I mean, Galladay would be good here. I don't like Lockett. I kind of like Boyd here. Landry's too high. At running back, Ingram's okay. Michelle, there's not a lot here that's making me think, oh, if I pass on this player, I'm going to be devastated. So I'm going to reach. You can call it high. I don't care. There's a time and a place to reach for a player. And when all these QBs are gone that I love, the anchors of my team, the guys that can score 3 and 4 TDs, I'll reach a round if I've got to. Baker Mayfield goes in round 6. That's his new home. But I took him at 5.4. So my team right now, for those of you watching, 5.4. I took so I have Baker. So backwards, Baker, Amari Cooper, George Kittle, Damian Williams, Zeke Elliott. Man says, wish you interact. Man, I'm doing a live mock draft on youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show with all the people. So I'm doing the definition of interacting. But I'm live streaming so that you can kind of see it and you know to go over there. But I still appreciate you, buddy. But if you ask your question, I'll try and answer it again. But I'm interacting like crazy over here. So after Baker went Kenny Galladay, Cooper Kupp, O.J. Howard, Tyler Lockett, and now on the clock. I'll analyze these teams at the end of the draft. But Mark Ingram was a fantastic pick at 5.9, C12. Mans, Barkley, Freeman, Carson, Watson, T.Y. I'm thinking T.Y. Hilton, Mike Williams, and Calvin Ridley need your assurance. Barkley, Freeman, Carson. I'm not a huge fan of Carson. I like Devonta at the right spot. I like Watson a lot. T.Y., Mike Williams. Not a bad team. You just have a few players. I usually don't draft. I love Ridley. I love Barkley. Carson. I like Watson, but like Carson, I'd rather have Mahomes or Monty if he were there. So that's where I would have changed directions for in place of what you did. Okay, so I'm going to try and answer some of the questions in here too, guys. At the end, I'll do more of a Q&A just right at the end. I can also scroll through. Hilton should drop a lot, says Delta. I agree. Ingram fumbles all the time. Warrior, that is a concern. Do you have a league that is your favorite? I have a couple, man. I have a couple teams that I absolutely love this year. Juju Smith or Thomas Smitty. I think I'd split it, man. If I had 2 leagues, same pick, I'd split it. I'd go 1 and 1 and 1 and the other. I love both. Got offered Amari and Ingram for Tyreek Hill and Henderson. I'd take Tyreek Hill and Henderson myself, but that's me. I'm still... What's up, Long? What's up, Smitty? New subscriber. Love the input. What's your draft value on Miles Sanders? Not super high on Miles Sanders, my friend. I think that they're just in the business of using multiple running backs. The coaching staff has proven that over the years. But, you know, I consider him at the right price. So if he fell to, like, you know, my late flex and I was waiting on running backs, 86 people in the room, hit that thumbs up. Come on. If I brought you value at all, hit that thumbs up. Let YouTube know that it needs to deliver this content to more people and get this community growing. I've told people this before, once this show gets big enough, I'm going to do my very, very best as fast as I can to deliver you guys literally the first, like, daily fantasy football show that you can count on at a certain time. So bear with me as I grow and get it to that point. But we're going to be doing that. I need your help. Please tell people. Please hit thumbs up. Please share. Let people know. I'm trying to look at some of the Instagram stuff, but we're over on YouTube doing a live mock draft. So if you want to join us, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballshow, or post your comment in, and I'll do my best to get in here and read both of them. I'm on the clock again. I've got a QB. I've got one wide receiver in Amari Cooper. My QB's Baker Mayfield. I have George Kittle. I have Damian Williams. I have Zeke Elliott. So now I'm looking at wide receiver. Landry would be a great wide receiver here, in my opinion. Eckler, Cohen, Miller. Lamar Miller's still there. Geis, Balaj. I'm going with, there's Robbie Anderson. I'm going with Landry here. I'm gonna stack Baker and Landry. I like the first 5 rounds, man. I love my team. I love this team. Just got Baker in the 8th round. Henry, great job. I'm going to ask Smitty to lock the teams until they verify payment or something. If you guys want to make this a league, this could be the last league I do, but it'd have to be unanimous. It would have to be, or I guess the people that pay are the only ones that can win money. So if you get first place and you didn't pay, then you go down a notch to the person that paid next. So Corey, you want to set that up? I'm fine with it. Even if we only get 7 people to pay, then the first person that's paid that wins the cash. So Corey, you set it up. I'm in if you guys are in. Here's my team: Baker, Zeke, Josh Jacobs, Odell, Edelman, Kittle, Damian Williams. How is that looking? I think 8-man league. I was going to say you must be playing in an 8-man league. It's still a great team for an 8-man league, but fantastic, bro. Fan-freaking-tastic. Thoughts on Henry at a running back 2? I like Henry. I like that a lot. If you're waiting on a running back, if you took him in the 2nd round, then I don't like it at all. But if he's like you waited, your strategy is to take a running back too late, then I like Henry. DJ over Hopkins and Bell. I take Hopkins over DJ and Bell, but that's me. That is me. Scroll up to my comment. I can't. Ramon? Let me try Ramon. Ramon, it's got to be way up there. Post it again, bro. Sorry. Got sniped. Got sniped. You sniper. You sniping sniper. That's the problem playing with your own broskies, man. Everybody here are just sniping fools. You can't let anybody fall. Adams over Bell, and already answered that, sorry. DJ over Hopkins. Nope, Hopkins. Or no, I didn't answer the Adam over Bell. Adams over Bell and Johnson, probably. I think I go Hopkins, Adams, then I start thinking DJ and Bell. I don't know why, I just have a little bit of reservations. Paulie Cat, thank you, sir. Smitty, check your DMs. Bro, my DMs are through the roof. It's pretty hard to check my DMs at this point. You got to kind of... That's why I have sleeperu.com and the Ask Smitty feature. It's $29 for the whole year. You don't have to pay monthly or anything. You pay $29 for Sleeper U, and you get one-on-one access with me. That's kind of the advantage. When I get slammed, bro, and we start getting into August, I can't get back to DMs. It's just too hard. I sometimes do. You're lucky if I do. I literally have like 100 DMs by like noon. So to get to people is impossible. Can Ingram keep lead back in Baltimore? Yes, he can. Ingram's the kind of guy that like I could see being like number 5 in rushing by week 8 or something, you know? I'm not saying that he's going to do that for sure. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if Ingram was playing at that level yardage-wise. I don't know about TDs. I don't know about receptions. We're going to have to see how they use him in Baltimore. So let's talk more strategy like I was saying earlier. When you reach for players, so for example, David Montgomery, you have to be very careful that you don't reach like in multiple places. So if you're going to decide to reach, you haven't responded to my DMs. Yeah, that's probably true. And not because I don't want to, but because I don't have the time. Once I get so many DMs, man, I can't. I'd be wasting all my time instead of providing paid content for people that actually, get sleeperu.com. And sorry, bro. I do my best. I do try and get in there and answer as many DMs as I can. I just can't get to even 10% of them. Am I up? What's up, Brandon? So, back on topic. Damian Williams at 2.07, 2.08, that's really high, guys. I'm not saying that he's not worth it. I'm the biggest advocate. I think he's worth a top 15 overall pick. But you don't have to pay that in our mock drafts. We are paying it because you guys are a little bit crazy for the sleepers, and you reach higher than even I do sometimes because you guys want to have them in the drafts we're doing. You want to be the ones to say, oh, I'm the one that's got so-and-so. I've got so-and-so, and I get it. But in your real draft, don't go reaching for Kerryon Johnson at 3.01 and reach for David Montgomery at 2.12 or David Montgomery at 2.05, and then you reach for somebody in the third round that's got fifth round value, and you just do multiple reaches, and then by the time you're done drafting, it looks like you lost the second or third round player. You have to be smart. You have to say to yourself, I will let people fall if I need to, and I play in. This has got to be a commandment for everybody. I play, like we can all say it together, like we're in some kind of therapy. I play in so many leagues, I will not overreach for too many players in multiple drafts. And the reason you don't want to do that is because at some point you have to say to yourself, if I pass on this guy, if I let this guy fall to a decent value, and someone wants to reach to get David Montgomery at 2.01, let's say, other players will fall that have a really good value. So don't even worry about it. And again, you should be playing in so many leagues. Okay, I better do this before you guys snipe me, you snipers. I would never take Pollard usually. Well, I guess 8.9, 9.04, that's about right for Pollard, so I'm okay with that. What about Cohen? Cohen, talking about how Cohen affects David Montgomery's like when people say that Alvin Kamara is in a running back by committee. I love that. Nothing makes me laugh more than when someone says Alvin Kamara is in a running back by committee. That's like the funniest thing people say. Cohen is in the peripheral. Cohen is a receiving player. Cohen is going to get you 250 to 340 rushing yards. Cohen does not affect David Montgomery. What about David Montgomery at 3.02? Again, Tyler, I take him at 3.02. I take him at 3.01. But you got to be careful not to reach also for like a Kerryon or a Chris Carson or somebody that leaves you looking like you walk out. You're like, dude, where'd my second rounder go? Where do you rank T.Y. Hilton now? Fourth round, probably. So who am I going to go next? You guys leaving anybody for me? You guys are taking everybody. Everybody that I like, you're sniping from me. Who is even left at this point? Which is so weird, because how does every player disappear in our drafts but not in other drafts? Because you guys take everybody. Man. There's like nobody left. Who do I take? Let's go with Fuller. I got Monty in the fourth in one of mine today, but he went in the third in a couple. So, yeah, so that's why Monty should be left in the third. 80% of the time you're going to get Montgomery. If not, 80%. I'd say 70 to 80% of the time you're going to get him by like 3.04. Thumb up on your way in 100 people in the room, and it's freaking 12:40 Eastern. That's fantastic. You guys are up ready to mock draft. But you're going to get David Montgomery 70-80% of the time at like 3.01, 3.02, 3.03. So if you reach for him at 2.05, you're just reaching way too high, and other players would fall. Like the value in David Montgomery is getting him as your third drafted player. That's where you dominate. If you get David Montgomery as your third drafted player, you clean up. If you get him as your second player, he has to do really well, which I think he will, to earn your value, which is fine. I think he can do it. Just make sure you're hitting a home run with that third rounder. So if you get Kamara, let's say at 4, you take David Montgomery really high in the second, you better take somebody that has a lot of firepower. And you could say that Pat Mahomes is a reach and you wouldn't do that. What's up, Henry? I would take him. If I took David Montgomery in the second round, which I try not to. I try to take him in the third because I own him in so many leagues. I'm okay if somebody grabs him. I own him a lot. I own David Montgomery a lot. I'm not going to reach for him and ruin my team and ruin the upside with the players that could fall in that second round that are amazing players. Like Dalvin Cook sometimes falls. He probably won't anymore. He's probably going to go by 2.02 now on average. But if Dalvin Cook's there, or Mike Evans is there, or Nick Chubb falls for some reason, those guys are worth grabbing. David Montgomery at 2.12 would be okay if all those guys are gone. But I'll take Pat Mahomes, David Montgomery, and Kamara all day long. All day long. What's up, Truth? What's up, March? 10 team just drafted Barkley, Chubb, Tyreek, Cooper, Mayfield, Gordon. Nice job. I like it. Lamar Jackson. Oh, can we even make this a league, Corey? Because it's a mock. Can you convert on Sleeper a mock to a draft? I don't even know if you can. I don't know. How far is your studio from the Ballers? Would be cool if you guys did a segment. Well, the Ballers did. Andy did come on. You mean like in person? I think I'm like a couple miles from them, probably. My guess, because I think they're in Phoenix. I think they're in like downtown Phoenix. I'm in downtown Phoenix, so we're probably really close. I bet you we shop at the same grocery store, to be completely honest. And there are a lot of people from Arizona that are in the fantasy football space. It's weird. Arizona's like the one place where I guess you go and migrate to start your fantasy career. I don't know. It's weird. But I do believe they're close. I believe they're in Phoenix, which is where I am. Do we have any other Phoenix people here besides the usual? I'm on the clock. Who do I take? Fitzgerald. I like Larry Fitz a little bit here. Sutton, I like. Damn. Luck. Oh my God, Luck fell. That's sad. Damn, guys. I guess Jordan Howard. He's potentially going to start games. Smitty, DD or Kirk? Westbrook. I take Westbrook. What's up, Mike? Mike in the house, playing in a 0.5, says Ray, 0.5 PPR, flex option, fifth spot. I have Baker, Zeke, Monty, Evans. Nice, man. Thielen, Cohen, Jalen Samuels. Nice, man. I like it. Why are people sleeping on Marlon Mack now since Luck is gone? That's the old debate, Matt. You can have that argument all day long, and you're not going to win with half the people. Like, I don't know why everybody resorts to, if your quarterback goes down or you lose your passer, that they're going to lean on the run and the run's going to be successful. Mac is far more attractive with Luck firing on all cylinders than an offense potentially in shambles or trying to work things out. And I'm not saying that Matt can't get to his value if Brissett can be good, and I think he could. But to assume that benefits the running back, I've never understood that argument. you want your running back to have a very potent offense, firing on all cylinders. And this mock I only set for 11 rounds is going to be the other problem as to how we can. I mean, we could fill in the rest of it with waivers, but this Corey, this might not be the best one to turn into a league because I don't even think we can convert the mock into a league. We might just have to. We might just have to do one more draft. I might do one more. You crazy fools. One more league with you guys. I can't guarantee everybody in this will be in it. It's so hard to do that. I'm not doing that again. Last time I tried that, it was a mess. Trying to get everybody back into the same one. It's just going to be a first come, first serve. But a lot of you are the regulars. So, Corey, I don't know that we're going to be able to make this work. It's 11 rounds. I shortened it so that the video would be shorter. I'm going to do a Q&A after. So let's do a Q&A right after this. I'll do a Q&A with you too. So if you guys have posted questions, you're going to have to, well, I could go to the cue cards. Those of you that are smart enough to use the cue cards, I will go into there. Except for Man posting the same question over and over and over. Man, I may not answer it because you posted it so many times. All right, so let's review the teams. Ready to review the teams? Let's do it. So, team number 1. Let's get this down. Team number 1. You guys tell me what you think. And you guys listening on Instagram can tell me too. Saquon Barkley, Adam Thielen, Kerryon Johnson, Aaron Rodgers, Calvin Ridley, Robbie Anderson. Not a bad team. This is Drummond in column 1. Not a bad team. I think Thielen was a reach. Myself, I think Kerryon was a reach. And this is what I was talking about. Drummond, you have a good team. And Aaron Rodgers was a staple for you, like a counterbalance that gives you a ton of points and production with Barkley. So I like it. You saved it with that move. That is the one way, I think, to save this kind of draft where you reach on one or two players. Poindexter says he has a buttload of wide receivers. But I don't recommend reaching on two players in round 2 and 3 back-to-back. Like I was saying earlier, Kerryon seems like a good idea. But, guys, there's a lot of risk there. You got to make sure he's like your late third drafted player. And if you do that, go with somebody really solid in the second round. And Thielen might be solid to some of you. And if you believe in him, trust your gut. But Thielen, to me, has enough risk with them dialing back the passing attack in 2019. The fact that he vanished at the end of the year last year when they ran and deployed the same offense that they're going to run this year. They test drove it in the tail end of 2018, and Thielen disappeared. Now, he looked good in the preseason. He had an amazing touchdown grab. It made me kind of a believer that, you know what, he might still survive and be as near as good as he was before. But you've got to take him as a third drafted player at the very earliest, in my opinion. So I think this is a B, but you have potential here, I think, to really do some damage and be a top 5 team. But I'll give it a B for right now. Second team, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Antonio Brown, T.Y. Hilton, Deshaun Watson, Alshon Jeffrey, Darwin Thompson. Kamara, Mixon. I like Mixon as a second running back. I don't like him in the first round. I think he holds a lot of bust potential that high. Now, you could ask me, well, if he's bust potential in the first round, why would you ever even take him? Because I think there are a lot of players like Gurley, like Kerryon, Fournette, James Conner, all those guys in that late second round have a little bit of that risk, which is why I typically don't draft a Mixon there, even though I feel like, okay, he kind of warrants it there. But I take a wide receiver like Evans a lot of times. I'll go early on Mahomes and watch people laugh at me. I don't care. I don't care if you don't like my Pat Mahomes early. There's a reason his ADP is at like 2.10. It's not even in the third round. Mahomes typically falls into the third round in a lot of drafts. Look, he went in the middle of this draft in the second round. But he does fall a lot of the time to the third round. But there's a reason his ADP is in the second round, because a lot of people share this thinking that you can get away with getting other value down the way to replace any void you may be creating by taking Pat Mahomes early. And that's what you can say that this does. It creates a void. If you take Mahomes early, it creates a little bit of a void maybe at your wide receiver spot or your running back too, because you're pushing that position down the way a little bit. But you land your sleeper. If you, like in this case with Sand, taking Melvin Gordon could burn him, but that could be the reason why he wins. If this was a league, he win the whole league, because if Melvin Gordon came back, he took the gamble on Mahomes, got Melvin Gordon to fill those shoes, and he landed his later pick that kind of replaces the player he would have taken in the second round if he hadn't gone Mahomes. So Mahomes and Gordon over like Watson and Kerryon, or Watson and whoever you take in that second round. I take Mahomes and Gordon all day long, and I roll that dice, and I'm fine with it. So Mixon's okay. Antonio Brown, Hilton, Watson, very solid team. I'd say team 2 is probably definitely in the top 6 for me, because Antonio Brown lands. If Hilton, plays at least 2 fourth-round potential, probably still could be a late third-rounder potential-wise, but I still draft him in the 4th like he did. And then to get Watson to anchor that team. I can't stress enough how important it is to anchor your team with like an Aaron Rodgers, a Deshaun Watson, a Baker Mayfield, or a Patrick Mahomes. All right here, these 4 quarterbacks. To me, you anchor your team with the passer. In this league, this year, we do have 4 passers. In these 4 passers that have 40 TD potential. And if you remember if you played fantasy football back in the Kurt Warner, Dante Culpepper days, those guys were first-round picks. I'm not saying anybody should be taking a quarterback in the first round, merely trying to explain that QBs had that kind of value back in the day, and for good reason. When you're a 40 TD passer, you can dominate your league and outscore your other competitors' QBs by over 100 points. You get this argument where people say, oh, well, Cam Newton and Russell Wilson and Trubisky and Winston and Breeze and Ryan and Goff and Wentz, these guys are all within 5 points of each other. Well, good for you. Guess what these guys are? These guys are 100 points ahead of those guys. That's the potential you get with with a 40 TD passer. And when you anchor your team with your 4th or 5th pick with a guy that can score 40 TDs week in and week out, you're carried by that player, and you can weather through ups and downs through your other players and positions so much better. And man, look what that does to this team too. Kamara, Mixon, Antonio Brown, Hilton. You're like, okay, that's pretty good. Deshaun Watson. How does that not feel like an anchor worth taking in that situation? It is gold. And that's why I did it with Baker Mayfield, and we'll go over my team in a second, because I didn't want to take the risk that I would miss out on one of those players. In every one of my drafts this year, but maybe one, and I've done about 12 real leagues already, I have Rodgers, Watson, Mayfield, or Mahomes. I actually have Rodgers, Mayfield, or Mahomes pretty much in all of them, and I have Watson in like 2. But I don't think I have a team out of my 10 to 12 leagues, whatever I have, of lost count, where I don't own one of these 4 quarterbacks in every single one of them. They are the anchors that will drive my team week in and week out. Some of them are 6-point for TD pass leagues, which makes them even more valuable. Some of them are 4, but regardless, I feel like they carry my team. Team 3, McCaffrey, Todd Gurley, Keenan Allen, Robert Woods, Evan Ingram. Don't take offense to this. If you don't like your team, guys, this is a mock draft. It's a learning experience, but for me, I just feel like McCaffrey's an amazing pick. Gurley, I think, is so full of risk. You didn't get Henderson. Keenan Allen's an okay 3rd rounder. Woods is an okay 4th rounder. So given that you have a lot of risk with your 2nd round pick, it doesn't feel like you have a lot of firepower with this team. And at every pick I make, I want to feel like I can win my league with that pick. That's my thinking. So with my team, Elliott, and I backed him up with Pollard down at 8.9. I think you can typically get him there in your drafts. You might not in a draft where you're drafting with Sleeper U and the Fantasy Football Show members, because we're all over this crap. But Tony Pollard will probably drop to your 8th round pick. So don't worry about waiting about that range for him if you do draft Elliott. I draft Elliott at 4 all day long. Even if I feel, and I'm kind of getting more so the feeling that he could be out week 1, but I think there's still a really good chance that he comes back in the final hour. He's pushing it for a reason, guys. He's trying to get the most right now, and he could push it to the 11th hour. So if Elliott misses, let's say, 2 games, Tony Pollard for 2 games, and I'm not starting 0 players or 0 points, guys. I'm starting Tony Pollard, who could get you 15, 18 points, whatever. Tony Pollard 2 games plus a fresh Zeke Elliott starting 14 games might even score more points than 16 games of Zeke Elliott in a weird way. So I'm not concerned at all as long as I get Pollard. Even where I've missed Pollard because somebody sniped me, I've still been very happy getting like a Devin Singletary like I did here, getting a Darwin Thompson, getting somebody that can fill in and get some spot work. So Elliott, Damian Williams. I didn't get Darwin. I normally would have, but I got sniped because I'm drafting with like-minded people. But I would have got Darwin most times in a draft like this because I would have taken him early enough, but not early enough in this draft with you guys, you snipers. But Zeke Elliott, Damian Williams, Damian and Darwin are a top 5 to 10 running back in 2019. Plain and simple. I don't care what anybody says. Darwin's one of the best, fantastic, standalone players to draft and stash in your league, even when you don't own Damian, because if he gets in there, he's a top 5 to 10 running back per start. But that doesn't change my view about Damian, which I've said since January, that Damian Williams is going to be a top 5 to 10 running back per start, and I hope he starts 16 games. And if you cuff the two, you're golden. Damian Williams in the final 4 games plus the 2 playoff games, so his last 6 games played in 2019, he was on fire through all of them. He didn't falter once during any of those games. He had 10 TDs in those 6 games, and he looked the part the other night for Kansas City, and he looked the part just tonight. So I love Damian Williams at the late second round. I think he's gold as long as you cuff him. Kittle, I think Kittle wins you a league in the 3rd round. You can call me crazy all you want. You can talk about how Jimmy G threw 5 interceptions in practice. Not a game, but practice. Then he comes back and has a very decent 3rd week of the preseason. Very efficient, looking very much the part that he needed to look in the first 2 games. I'm not worried about Jimmy G. He's a confident guy, very good system that he's running, and I have no problems at all about Jimmy G. And even if I did, I think George Kittle showed us that he could get it done anyways. With a QB carousel of garbage last year, he had 1,300 plus yards, 80 plus receptions, and only 5 TDs. I think he notches that up to about 10. And George Kittle wins you a league from the 3rd round in 2019. Amari Cooper, fantastic 4th player if you go 0 wide receiver. How the hell did that happen? I think because everybody was grabbing running backs, but Amari Cooper to be my 4th player on a 0 wide receiver strategy is phenomenal. I reached for Baker, I admit it, and I'm damn proud of it because he anchors my team just like I talked about earlier. When you get a guy that can score, and let's call Baker Mayfield a 37 TD passer, 36, but runs for 4 or 5. He's a 40 total TD player in 2019. He's going to live in the red zone. The Browns will be the most explosive offense outside of Kansas City in 2019. Both Baker and Mahomes will be on fire and be so exciting to watch. And then I stacked them with Landry, who I took right below, Devin Singletary, Tony Pollard. I love this team. I'd go to war with Zeke Elliott, Damian Williams, George Kittle, Amari Cooper, Baker Mayfield, and Landry any day of the week. I wish this was a league. I love this team. I love it. Sorry I'm not answering a bunch of your questions, guys. I'll do a Q&A right after I'm done. David Johnson, Pat Mahomes, Leonard Fournette. I don't like the Fournette pick. I love the Melvin Gordon pick in the 4th round. I'm still taking that. I'm still rolling that dice. A.J. Green and Galladay are fantastic wide receivers for Sand, considering he waited. He got Curtis Samuel. I would call this a top 5 team, especially if Gordon lands. If Gordon doesn't land, you still will compete, but you won't win. But Gordon's the gamble there, and I like the gamble. I don't like it in every draft, although I've taken Gordon a lot. But I like this. I like this move. I like what you're doing here. DeAndre Hopkins is the next team. David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, 2 rookies back-to-back. Zach Ertz, Cooper Kupp, Darrell Henderson, DJ Moore. Your QB's Kyler Murray. If Ertz can play at the level he's accustomed to playing at and he proves people wrong in terms of that drop-off that people are expecting, then I think you're a top 6 team. Lev Bell is the next team by Rare. Lev Bell, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, Miles Sanders, O.J. Howard, Drew Brees. Borderline top 6 team. One thing happens for you, like Madison, who you took down below, pops for whatever reason. Hopefully he doesn't. I want Cook to have a monster year. You would be in the mix for sure. Gramps, Adams, Connor, Aaron Jones, Duke Johnson was really high in the 4th round, but I have to admit it kind of excites me thinking about Duke. So I think Duke could have a big year, but that's really high. It's interesting to see where Duke's ADP level is. You got Westbrook, you got Lockett. I think you're outside the top 6, but one or two things happen. You hit that waiver wire guy. You pick up this year's Philip Lindsay or James Conner or something like that. You're right in the mix. Don't worry about it. If you have a team like that, I still like it. Odell, the next team. Odell, Kelsey. Carson's way too high in the 3rd round for me. Godwin's a good pick in the 4th. Ingram, Josh Gordon, Jared Goff. Outside the top 6, but just like with Gramps, one move and I think you could. A lot of these teams, just one move and you'd be in it. El Duderino, Nick Chubb, Julio Jones, Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack's early to me. Cooks is early to me. Like you're going back to what I was talking about earlier. If you're gonna go early with Cooks, and I'm not saying there are a lot of other options there, but if you do have Cooks as your 4th player, you really need to make sure that that's your one gamble you make with your top 4 picks. I feel like if you're going to reach and do a gamble type move, you should do it with one of your 4 players. And I'm not talking about taking Pat Mahomes in the late 2nd round as a gamble. That's a lock. It's more of like that impacts downstream some things, creates some voids in your other positions maybe, but it's not a gamble. So if you're going to go Cooks, I feel like it's a little bit of a gamble. I wouldn't go Mac as well. But Nick Chubb, Julio, Mac, Cooks, White, James White, Matt Ryan, it's good. I'd say right there around that medium, middle of the pack range. One thing happens, boom, you're in it. Next team, 2 teams left. Mike Thomas, Tyreek Hill, Devonta Freeman, Derrick Henry, Sony Michel, Tyler Boyd, Carson Wentz. So you went wide receiver. You still got Devonta Freeman and Derrick Henry. That's textbook 0 running back for the first 2 rounds. And good success. So I'd say you're right around that 6 range. I know I've said everybody's kind of around 6. I'm trying to be polite, but I'm also feeling like everybody's right there. Usually teams are very even and kind of tied for middle of the pack. This next team, if you had done a couple different things, I would have loved this team. So Juju, Dalvin Cook couldn't start better than that from the 1.12 and 2.1. I love that team. Fantastic. Casual says, tell me where you have been. What do you mean? Tell me where the hell you have been. What are you talking about, bro? I just did a 24-hour straight live stream for you. You're asking where I've been. I've been sitting there for 24 hours straight, available. And I slept about 6 hours, got right back to it. Did another mock draft live. And now I'm back on here now, and I've been on for an hour. So that's where I've been casual. I've been waiting right here casually for you. Juju, Cook, Edelman in the 3rd round is just way too high, guys. Way too high. Julian Edelman in the 3rd round. Philip Lindsay's okay, but I'd rather see you get him in the 5th round. Yeah, so a couple different things. If you went, I don't know who you would have. You kind of got sniped. I mean, even a Melvin Gordon, I'd rather have than a Julian Edelman, but that's me. Or I guess if you, I don't know. I just don't like Edelman as my 3rd drafted player. I just don't. I know a lot of people are high on him, but it's just hard for me to stomach that he's your 3rd drafted player. But you did get sniped in this type of draft. There's a lot of people that went. There wasn't that 3.12 is normally more rich, Terrence, than that, so I give you that. But yeah, so there's the teams. I think we all love our own team every time, but I can be honest and tell you when I don't love my team, hey, this isn't the best team I've ever drafted. And mock drafts are for that reason, to practice, right? But I have to say, I freaking love my team. I freaking would go to war with Elliott. I'm going to look at my team at this. Yeah. Baker, Elliott. I should have looked at the teams like this. I'm sorry. This would have been a lot better. Baker, Elliott, Damian, Amari Cooper, Landry, Kittle. Woo! Woo! At the expense of waking up Miss Smitty. Woo! Should I ring the bell? I love this team. I go to war with it. I'll show you real quickly in quick format. Gramps, what is... I missed your message, Gramps. Rodgers, Barkley, Carry-On, Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, not bad. Watson, Kamara, Mixon, Brown, Hilton, not bad. Cam, McCaffrey, Gurley, little thin for me. Whoops. Sand. Mahomes, David Johnson, Fournette, Galladay, Green, Melvin Gordon. Look at Melvin Gordon just sitting there at that flex spot. I like it. Montgomery, Jacobs, Hopkins, Rare, Breeze, Bell, Sanders. I don't like Sanders as much as everybody else, but at the right price, I'd get him. Evans, Diggs. Evans and Diggs is fantastic given that you have Bell, given that you have Breeze. I like it. It's not bad. Connor, Aaron Jones, a little thin, but it's because I don't love Connor. I don't like Carson. Deuterino. I don't like Mac. I don't like Cooks early. I've already told you that. No offense. No offense. This is a mock draft. These aren't your best teams you've ever assembled that I'm ridiculing. So please don't take offense to it. Again, this is that zero running back approach, and then Terrence's team right there. I'm not a big fan of Lamar as your starting QB, just to be honest. So that is it. That about does it for the drafting. But let's get into the Q&A. Or actually, should we go right into some news? Let's look at some news. Let me pull up the news. Let's pull up the news. Okay. Let me end that. Let's pull up the news and see what's going on in the world of news. Let's go to Roto World, if that's all right with you guys. Let's plug in. Let's do some Q&A right after the news, my friend. Okay. Let me quit iTunes. Every time I gotta stop that from happening. It's annoying. iTunes, no. I did download John Wick 3. Anybody seen it? I can't wait to watch it tonight. That's what I'm doing tonight. John Wick 3. Learn about it. Okay. Let's look at the news. One minute and 18 seconds remaining for you on Instagram. Get on over to sleeperu.com. Actually, I'm going to end it here so we can post it. Get on over to, go to youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Thank you for watching. Okay. Let's look at the news. Okay. Stop, iTunes. Damn it. Okay. There we are. McKinnon knee returned to practice. That's encouraging, but I don't know that he's going to do much. I'm not super high on him. Wait for the Q&A, guys. I'm not going to see your question if you're posting it yet. We'll do the Q&A at the end. Zener. Remember when everybody was so high on Zach Zener? Lions released him. DK Metcalf ruled. DK Metcalf knee scope out for week 1. Guys, this is what I feared with this guy. He's too big. He has the makings of a tight end frame-wise. And I just think you're looking at a player like Gronk or Gates or whoever. Gates had trouble staying healthy. Gronk. Near the end, Gates did. But Gronk is a better example. Just a big-bodied guy. And I don't think he's going to withstand the beating that a wide receiver takes. And if you think he's going to have like a lot of 16-game starts, I just think you're fooling yourself. I think he'll be exciting. Robert Foster's not worth owning yet. But again, Q&A in a second. I'm going to miss your question. Deshaun Jackson suffered a broken right finger in Tuesday's practice, but is expected to be ready for week 1. Kiki, speaking Tuesday, says he's not hopeful that Kiki's ankle will be ready for week 1. Guess what? Will Fuller's ready to go nuts in week 1. Will Fuller responds when he's on the field, so he should be in your lineup at your wide receiver 3. I like Will Fuller a lot. Cam Newton, they're not concerned in Carolina about his week 1 status. We knew that. People are freaking out about Christian McCaffrey. Should I lower McCaffrey on my rankings, Smitty? No. Cam Newton didn't suffer a season-ending injury. He was only questionable for week 1, over a week ago. Knee-jerk reactions by people. A lot of people have knee-jerk reactions to Darrell Henderson. Oh, you must not like him anymore, Smitty. Not true. Or, you must not like Darwin Thompson anymore. Well, first of all, I'm one of Damien Williams' biggest advocates, so I like Damien Williams, and I'm happy that Damien Williams is on fire right now. Gronk. This was interesting today. Retired tight end Rob Gronkowski didn't rule out returning to the NFL. Gronkowski is pain-free for the first time in a decade. He didn't shoot down the potential comeback, but says that he doesn't see it in the foreseeable future. Off-season reports have pegged Gronk's chances of returning around 40%, and there have been rumblings of some of the Patriots front office expect him to cave. With Ben Watson suspended for the first month, who I think won't stay healthy, so he's gonna get hurt at some point. It'd be surprising if the Patriots don't try to lure him in. Jordan Reed, concussion, is expected to be ready for the start of the season. There's more injury about Cooties. Kiki Cooties. Dante Pettis is battling a minor groin injury. There was talk today that he's still the team's number 1 wide receiver. A beat writer talked about. We'll see what happens. Pettis shouldn't be slept on. He's not getting drafted now in a lot of leagues. Carlos Hyde worked extensively with the backups. Of course he did, because we've told you that from the beginning. It's Darwin Thompson's backup job to lose. It's not going to be Carlos Hyde. It's Darwin Thompson that backs up Damien Williams. Damien Williams and Darwin, top 5. Love that cuff. I love that Damien's value fell. You're able to clean up on that. Reed is true injury prone. So is Greg Olsen. Where do we draft Greg Olsen? Do you draft Greg Olsen to start in 2019? I don't know about you guys, but I'm very tempted to. But I'm also making sure I'm backing him up. Odell Beckham Jr. resumed practice on Monday. That's good. He's back. Don't worry about him. Bryce Love is a guy that was going to be a machine at the NFL level, and then he tears his ACL. He's going to begin the year on the PUP list. Gruden indicated in 2019 will likely serve as a redshirt rookie year for him. The Stanford product earned All-American status as a junior, finishing runner-up to Baker Mayfield for the 2017 Heisman Trophy, but he tore that ACL. I think Bryce Love's somebody to watch in Dynasty, and if people cut him because they don't want to wait, pick him up and stash him if you're in like a relatively big league. I like Love a lot for the future. He could maybe struggle and be one of those guys that retires, tries for a couple years, can't ever get his knee right. There's some talk about his knee having some issues. Some people have really good ACL recovery, some people don't. Let's just hope for the best because he's a big-time talent. And he's young enough to where he can tear that ACL and still become close to 100%. Mike Evans returned to practice Monday. Don't worry about Mike. Don't worry about Godwin. Zeke Elliott, in an interview with Maxim, Elliott said he hopes to be with the Cowboys for the rest of his life. That's good news. I think this situation gets resolved right before week 1, and maybe even is one of those things where he doesn't play week 1 because they can't get things done in time. He can't get everything settled in time or whatever. That's possible, but I really, really think that you need to take Zeke Elliott at 4, and anytime he falls to you at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, take advantage, say thank you, and put him on your roster, and take care of him. Hold Zeke. Take care of Zeke. Zeke is such a value and fantastic person to coddle on your bench as you wait for him to return. And the same thing with Gordon at 4th round value. Don't take for granted your Zeke Elliott dropping or your Melvin Gordon dropping. Sorry, the TV in the background is pretty damn loud. A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown looked bad in spots, but I do like this guy. He looks really he didn't look polished on his route running, but it was good to see him running around and looking like a dominating presence. So I don't know. After that game, everyone was talking about how bad he looked. I kind of thought, you know what? I was looking past all that, all the mistakes, and just saying this guy's a physical specimen. And if they can change some things, kind of like Arizona did, where they got Kyler Murray out of nowhere, got rid of Josh Rosen. I'm not saying I hate Mariota, but Mariota doesn't feel like the kind of guy that's going to turn A.J. Brown into a star. So if they can change the quarterback situation over the next year, 2 or 3, A.J. Brown could end up being a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy football by his 3rd or 4th year. Don't rule that out. This guy, it could be by his 3rd year. He looks so amazing physically, his skill set. He just doesn't have a good situation. But A.J. Brown is a talent, such a talent. I was so bummed that he landed there. I don't know why. It would have been amazing. He fell so far. If the Giants were smart enough, they're obviously smart enough to take Daniel Jones, who I admit I was wrong about. He looks very precise. I like Daniel Jones a lot now. I didn't like him at all. I'll admit it. I was wrong. But they were wrong in not taking a wide receiver to replace Odell Beckham Jr. And a guy like A.J. Brown fell far enough to where it was a great value in a must-grab situation for them, and they didn't act. They had, 4 picks to do this, and they didn't do anything. They at least had 3 picks. Did they have 4 picks before A.J. Brown was taken? I think they had 3 at least. But A.J. Brown should have been nabbed with one of the 3 or top 4 picks to pair with Daniel Jones. They would have been insane for the future with Barkley, Daniel Jones, and A.J. Brown. What the hell were the Giants thinking not pairing those guys together? Okay, so I think we're good on the news. James Conner in his preseason outing, 41 yards on 5 carries. A lot of people think he's going to have a big year. I think he could per start, but I think you have to cuff Jalen Samuels and Benny Snell together. Jalen Samuels is paired with his old college coach from NC State, Eddie Faulkner, coached Jalen Samuels in college at NC State. He's now the running backs coach in Pittsburgh. If you think that Jalen Samuels isn't going to hit the field and get sent all around the field on all kinds of routes, hit the thumbs up on your way in. We got 176 people in the room and only 49 thumbs up. Come on. Really? Really? Please. 180 people in the room. Please hit the thumbs up. Let's do some Q&A. It's time to Q&A this biatch. All right. Hit me with it. What do you guys got? If you've asked your question, ask it again. I'm going to answer it right now. I'm going to put it on screen, but it has to be a new question. I'm not going back. Hit me with it. Riley, I got AJ Green in the 7th. What do you all think of that? I like it, Riley. I think that's fantastic. Next question. Duke, 6th round. For sure, I think he warrants a 6th round pick. That's good value. Next question. Look at those thumbs up pouring in. Thank you. Gronk is not coming back. People need to let it go. Well, it's not us that's talking about it. It's a lot of these news reporters, and it's the fact that it's coming out of Gronk's own mouth. So I'm not saying that you're going to be wrong, but I think it's worth talking about because it's news. Sometimes I talk about news to shoot it down. Like if someone's in the news, if there's talk about Melvin Gordon maybe going to the Houston Texans now, then, and I don't believe it to be true, I'll still bring it up so we can talk about it and shoot it down. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. I appreciate it. Next question. What do you think about T.Y. Hilton? I'll tell you what I think about T.Y. Hilton. I think T.Y. Hilton was getting overdrafted before the Luck retirement, and I think T.Y. Hilton is falling probably into a range where I would have taken him before. And so he's still a little high for me because now I worry even more. But I think that if it's late 4th round, early 5th, I'd take him. But I don't know that he's going to fall to a place where I'm going to get him much. If you could pick a spot in a 10-team league, what spot would you pick and why? Probably the 5 or 6 spot. I just like it. I actually know the 1 spot. I take the 1 spot. And I'd be fine with the 5 spot as well. I have yet to draft a team I don't love from the 6 spot. So just throwing that out there. Bumpy Jones asks, Allen Robinson due for a second breakout or Mike Williams better chance? Mike Williams. I think Allen Robinson's decent to put on your bench, or if you're going cheap at wide receiver 3, you draft him really late. but Mike Williams has more appeal. Evans and Diggs for Odell Beckham Jr. and Jones. Evans and Diggs for Odell Beckham Jr. and Jones. I assume you mean Aaron Jones. I'd probably take Odell and Aaron Jones. Yeah, that's me. I could understand. No, bro, I was responding to someone else in the chat. Oh, you can talk about it all you want. Okay, sorry, man. I didn't mean to. I wasn't necessarily calling you out either. I was just kind of responding to that. I do see that a lot. Like, people like to predict things, and people like to shoot things down, and I think it's good to talk about everything. What do you think about Lamar Jackson? I don't think much about him. I think he's one of those players I just don't buy into for the long term. So I'm not a big fan. Daryl says, Smitty, how do you feel about Preston Williams? I like him a lot at the right price, like, picking up him, stashing him on your bench type price. Yeah. Smitty, do you return leagues? Do I do return leagues? Not a lot of them, to be honest with you, and I don't know why. I guess you have to find a lot of people that are interested in that, and a lot of the people that I eyeball with don't like that, so I tend to not do a ton of them. Maybe one a year, and I do a couple IDP as well, but not as many IDP as I do other drafts. Gronk was an amazing blocker for us. Henry gonna bust again this year. I think he's worth a 4th rounder because there is bust potential, but I think in the 4th round that's pretty good. Poindexter says, are you serious? I don't know who you're talking to. He moved the chains. Oh, you're talking about Gronk. I asked you in the mock what you would possibly trade for Melvin Gordon as of right now. I'd say anything in the 4th round. I'd like a T.Y. Hilton. I would take Gordon over, like, I'd be tempted to go like Diggs or something, but I'd be tempted to take Gordon. Like, I'm talking like 1 or 2 leagues, not all your leagues, but that's winning league material. Like, if you aren't willing to roll the dice in one of your leagues for a guy like Melvin Gordon, then why do you play fantasy football, which is a game of chance and fun and upside and all that? So in 1 or 2 leagues, you better own Melvin Gordon at this value. You're going to be so mad at yourself if you don't take advantage in at least one league. And if it goes wrong and he doesn't play for 8 weeks, whatever, I mean, so be it. But if he comes back like a week 1 or week 2, and I think there's a good possibility both Elliott and Gordon try to make it back for week 1 again. They might not get the cutoff in time because they're not thinking this out. But you're going to be really upset at yourself if you don't take advantage of that value in at least one league. 6 spot, lots of opinion. I like 6 spot. Reasoning for Kamara over Saquon and McCaffrey. So in PPR, the reasons are simple. That Kamara averages over 13 TDs a year. He averaged back-to-back years. He's only played 2 years, so he's fresh. Back-to-back 81 reception seasons. He's a 1,500-plus total yard guarantee, and he doesn't reside in a running back by committee. This is a bunch of horse crap when people say that this guy's in a running back by committee. It makes me chuckle. I think it's very funny that people think he's in a running back by committee. He is in a situation where he's supposed to only run the ball 195 to 210 times. Therefore, when they run an extreme amount over that amount, they need somebody to fill in and be a spelling type running back. That might entail some goal line work, but Kamara he has a nose for the end zone that the Saints aren't going to just sit on the bench and say, oh, we're not going to let you go to town, Kamara, and find that end zone. We're going to put somebody else in. It's going to be situational, but the guy's a 15 TD guy. He's a breakaway touchdown runner. He's a runner that pulls in receptions, TD receptions. He's going to get his touchdowns. I'm not worried about Kamara at all. 81 back-to-back year reception seasons. He has the potential to be a 100 reception running back. That's why I think that's gold in PPR. Now, in non-PPR, I might take Barkley. I think it's arguable. Jordan Reed or Mark Andrews. Probably Reed, but I don't know that he's going to be healthy. How many fantasy points does each block give a tight end? I don't know. But for fantasy, Gronk wasn't that great. Yeah, he was for a string of years, man. Do you target drafting 6 in a standard scoring? I like 6 overall in all leagues. I do. Marvin Jones, not a big fan. Any Denver wide receiver startable? I think Cortland Sutton could be. Have a good night. Thank you, Henry. Enjoy your vacation. Riley, none. Smitty, what do you think about Aaron Jones week 1 against the Bears? I think it's a tough draw. What would you trade Dalvin Cook and Breda? First of all, Breda's nothing. For Amari Cooper and Lindsey? No. I keep the best player available in Cook, and I don't even need to see the rest of your team. Got offered Gurley for Monty. I keep Monty myself. I can understand if you want to go Gurley, but I take Monty, and that's how I roll. Saw him in college. He wasn't impressive. Who are you talking about? 5th round players to pick. In the 5th round, I'd say I love when Monty falls. It's ridiculous. I love going Aaron Rodgers, man. That's one of my favorite 5th round picks. I love Aaron Rodgers in the 5th round. I thought you meant Julio. It looks like you're having a side conversation. Sorry. Andrews, for me, says Wesley. Earlier question about Reed and Andrews. What do you think about Goff falling so late after such a good year? I think he's an underrated QB. And by the way, guys, we have 205 people in the room. Hit the thumbs up. We only have 70 thumbs up. I appreciate it. It helps this channel grow. My goal is to get you guys to a 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every single day show. Not a Mike and Mike, because it's just Smitty, but the Smitty and Smitty show, maybe. And in order to do that, I need the subscribers. I need the thumbs up. I need all of that. And you guys can help make it happen. You guys have built this channel from the ground up in 7 months. In 6 to 7 months, we have gone from 0 to 2,400 subscribers like that. And right now, 206 people in the room, and it's 1:30 p.m. Eastern. You guys are insane. You guys are the best fans, subscribers, followers, teammates, whatever you want to call yourselves in the business, and I can't thank you enough. I have Kittle and Ertz somewhere offered. Someone offered me Diggs for Ertz. Yeah, I take Diggs over Ertz if you're in that situation. DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel. I like Samuel more, but it's very arguable. Smitty, 2 and 3 QB leagues. Do any of these? No, I do 1 2 QB league, not 3. I'm not a huge. I like them. They're okay, but I like traditional. 1 QB leagues better. I got offered Gurley and David. I think I already answered that one. What is Justin Jackson? I'm not a big believer yet that's going to be something that you're going to have to worry about. I think Gordon's going to be back at some point, even if it's week 2 or 3. Started in my draft with Zeke, AB, Jacobs, Montgomery, Dede. I like it. Miles Sanders, nice job. Zeke and AB, and having those 2 rookies, you're gold, dude. That's great. Eckler is not a bad replacement. I think Eckler would be the guy. I'm not a Justin Jackson believer yet. He could change my mind, I do admit. But I think Eckler is the guy to pick up if you need a player. Would you rather have Boyd or Galladay? I'd rather have probably Boyd at this point. He's going to get wide receiver 1 targets for a little bit. It sounds like Green's going to be out at least 3 weeks. Galladay's his number 1 as well. His team's number 1, but he's also entrenched in a run-first offense. I think Cincinnati's going to be bad, and that's going to mean a lot of throwing in the 3rd and 4th quarter. So give me Boyd all day long. But I like Galladay. Someone in my draft took Monty at 3.3. Must-watch sleeper. You and the Fantasy Football Show. You took Kittle at 3.6. Nice job. Nice job to your friend, Cat Fan. Thoughts on Dede Westbrook? I think he could be a really, really, really good wide receiver 3 with upside for more, but I draft him right around the high-end wide receiver 3 place. I don't take him as a high-end wide receiver 2 yet, but that's where his upside could be. Tyler Morris, Kamara Kamara is the safest running back. I agree. I'm big on Dede. I think that's good. What are your thoughts on Chiefs running back situation? I've talked about this a lot, Victor. I know you probably missed this, but top 5 to 10 running back. Damian Williams, 6 straight games, 4 regular season games, 2 playoff games, 10 total TDs, has not faltered. I know I'm repeating myself like a parrot, but pair these guys together, Darwin and Damian, you have a top 5 to 10 running back. And in drafts where you don't get Damian, still go get Darwin because he's a top 5 to 10 running back per start if he's called upon. You got Melvin for $24 in an auction. What do I think? If it's a $200 auction, that's not bad value. That's about what a fourth rounder probably would be if I had to guess. Took Kamara at 1.02 last year, and you've been all in. I agree. Nice job. In a small bench, would you keep Darrell Henderson or drop him? I keep him. I figure out a way to keep him. Darrell Henderson could win you a league. And you just have to be patient. You can't have a knee-jerk reaction and say, oh, Darrell Henderson's not going to do anything. Be patient with Darrell Henderson, okay? He's going to get 9 to 12 touches right out of the gate, and that's with a bad preseason. They obviously see things in practice. They see a lot more than we do. Everybody's so quick to say, oh, well, he did bad in the preseason game, as if the coaches don't know what they have, as if the coaches don't talk to the guy at practice or watch him practice. There's more that goes on than the 4 or 5 preseason carries that a guy gets when he gets swarmed at the line of scrimmage, and half of it's not his fault. You think Montgomery is a solid flex half point? No, I don't think he's a solid flex, Chad. I think he's an amazing high-end running back too. And I've been preaching that for 6 months now. So if you're new to the channel, Chad, welcome. Don't mean to go at you with my David Montgomery aggressiveness, but I'm doing it with tough love, Chad. You have yourself an amazing player, and he's better than a flex. Which players do you target in the 6th round? Baker Mayfield. For whatever reason, Calvin Ridley falls. He probably won't. 6th round, you're talking about. I typically is like a Baker there, man. That's where because it gets kind of thin in the 6th round. I want to be on the show, James says. Well, watch this. Ready? Boom. James, you're on the show in the top left corner right there. Had Goff last year. He was fantastic. How do you rank Fournette, Carson, Kerryon, and Dynasty? I'll tell you how I rank it. Kerryon, and then that's all I got to say about that. I'm not a big fan of Carson or Fournette. I just don't own them in any drafts. Smitty, lost luck. Would you do Boyd for Goff? My other wide receivers are Keenan, Edelman, D. Jackson, and Robbie Anderson. That's going to leave you very thin. I'd like to know who your other options are at QB. Sometimes there's a better QB right on the waivers, and I'm not told, and then I say yes, and then you say, well, Tom Brady was sitting there. Dede, Westbrook, Smitty, says Eric. That's all Eric has to say about that. You the man, Smith. Thank you, Kat. Please get to my question, Smitty, says Brandon. Brandon, I've been reading them like nonstop, so you have to post it again. And then I'll get to it, Brandon, I promise. So post it. Nolan, $24 for Melvin Gordon is most likely a great buy for you. Yes, I agree. Smitty, my team. Ryan, DJ, Montgomery, Jacobs, Hopkins, Adams, OJ Howard. Good job. Held Jones as a holdover in the 11th round. I assume you mean Aaron Jones, fantastic value. I have Kelsey and Kittle. He's laughing. What do I do? You trade Kelsey on the high. You try and get yourself a Mike Evans, a Dalvin Cook, a Nick Chubb, an Odell Beckham Jr., or a Patrick Mahomes. You have a lot of options that Kelsey can buy you. Don't sell low. Take advantage of that. Carson is a good but injury-prone player, says Iceman. I don't like Carson at all. I just don't. I don't trust him. What are some guys I should be targeting on waivers after the draft? Dontrell Hilliard. I get a weird little fuzzy feeling about Dontrell Hilliard. I don't know why. He's the backup in Cleveland. I just like what I saw in a very short amount of time. I love how they used him. They're very confident in him. And if you own Nick Chubb, you need to cuff this guy to your Nick Chubb right now. If you're unwilling to go down the Kareem Hunt path, or even if you are, you almost just have to figure out a way to do this. But Dontrell Hilliard, for some weird freaking reason, I just like this guy. And for whatever reason, envision, call it a gut instinct only, I'm fine with that. I have a lot of those. I don't have stats all the time to crank out and tell you, oh, I like this guy or like that guy. Dontrell Hilliard, for whatever reason, based on what I saw and how the team used him, and they trust him in their opening drive that was amazing in week 2 of the preseason, Dontrell Hilliard gave me that warm, fuzzy feeling. And I don't know what that means, but I'm just telling you. And I think that that's a guy to target if you're in a league where you have no running back two or no flex option, or you own Nick Chubb and you didn't get Kareem Hunt. He could pull in 4 catches a game. He could get you like 8 points. And he's not even the starter. They use him a lot. They're going to use him a lot in the receiving game. Why don't you like Miles Sanders? Because Miles Sanders is embedded in a running back by committee. He's not even technically the starter yet. The Eagles coaching staff does not use one running back. That is proven. And I was never enamored by his skill set or his film in college. I like Damian Harris more. I don't like Damian Harris more in a draft, but if you ask me in week 10 who will be scoring more points, mark my words, Damian Harris. I think Sony Michel's knees won't hold up, and Damian Harris will be a very sneaky running back. We got a lot of questions here, guys, so if I miss anything, I apologize. I'm trying to read them all. Do you think Jacoby Brissett will have a decent fantasy value? I think he's not a starter. He's a backup in fantasy, but he could be okay. Sure. Is Hawkinson going to have a fantasy relevance as a rookie? Absolutely. I think he's like borderline 6 to 10, even as a rookie. I think he's that gifted. How do you rank them in Dynasty, PPR? Oh, you're asking. Bell or Mixon? I take Bell because Bell's a first rounder. Mixon is a second rounder. So that one's pretty easy there. Rock out. You got Montgomery at the beginning of the 6th round in a 10 PPR. Well, shame on you, Savage Beastie, for just taking complete advantage of your league and just throwing all kinds of disrespect at those people in your draft. Fantastic job. Riley, do you feel okay with Fournette and Monty as your running backs if you went Thomas and Juju? Yeah, I'd be okay with that, but I'm not a fan of Fournette. I'd look to try and shop him while his value's high. I just don't trust him. Brandon, I see your question. Brandon, we're here. We're here at the point where I can answer your question. Ready? Okay. Smitty, thoughts on my pre-draft trade? My 2.10 and 3.03 for 2.01 and 3.02. Let me try and digest this. So a late second, early third for early second, late. I mean, it's just like I'm not trying to belittle the trade, but it's like that's typical like trade swapping. There's like even Steven type gain on your first pick and even drop on your second, really. So I mean that's even. That's just the math. What would I rather have? I'd rather have the 2.01 and probably 3. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I think that if at 2.10, if you landed a Mike Evans, then I love that one more because you could have a Mahomes and a Mike Evans, or you could have a Mahomes and a Monty. But let's say you get Monty at 3.12, Brandon. Then you have yourself an Odell and a Monty, and I'm like calling you a genius. So it all depends on who you land, but it's pretty even type swap. Very, very even. Like one of those things where you're like, okay, well, I don't think anybody benefited. It just kind of matters who you get. Players scoop up in later rounds of a draft. I'll tell you, this is the winning formula right here. You take Jalen Samuels, you take Darwin Thompson, you take Alexander Madison, you take Darrell Henderson. You take those guys, you stash them on your bench, you wait for one to become the next James Conner, and then you trade that player for a Mike Thomas or an Odell Beckham Jr. or a Mike Evans. That's how you win a league. You don't win a league by taking a Corey Davis or a Marvin Jones or some Dante Pettis or some receiver you'll barely ever use, if ever, in the 7th or 8th round. In rounds 7 through 12, you take breakout running backs that either are going to be rags or riches. It's that simple. That's my formula. That's how I win league after league after league. And that's how I'm the guy when a guy breaks out and you look at the roster and you say, who owns Madison now that Alexander Madison, knock on wood, I don't want Dalvin Cook to get hurt. Who has Madison now that he's the starter? Oh, it's Smitty. And then who has that Darwin Thompson? Oh, it's Smitty. Every time. Because that's how I draft. And everybody knows it. And a lot of times they see it coming in the expert drafts. You guys snipe me. But I tend to not get sniped in the expert drafts. They know my style year after year. That's how I draft, and I still land these types of players. Doing good, Garrett. What's up? 8 weeks of Melvin or 16 of Monty? 16 of Monty, bro. Montgomery's worth, in hindsight, I think, going to be a top 15 to 18 overall player. So I take Monty over Melvin. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. Do you feel confident in starting Aaron Rodgers versus the Bears? I'm not sitting Aaron Rodgers unless I own like Baker and Aaron or whatever. You just don't sit Aaron Rodgers. Duke Johnson or Dede as your flex? I take Duke. I think Duke is very sneaky. I don't take him in the 4th round like on our mock draft, but I love Duke. Miles Sanders or Carson? God, I don't like either. And I don't draft either in the 5th round. I just don't. That's why I take Aaron Rodgers. Bell or Mixon? Already answered that. Rock out Bell because Bell is a 1st rounder. Mixon's a 2nd. Drafted Baker. Never even thought of him in any draft. Drafted Baker. Never even thought of him. Love Baker. I don't know what you mean by that, but start thinking about him. He's thinking about you. Smitty, next year you will be our auctioneer if you oblige. If you fly me out, Sand, or you're in Arizona, aren't you? Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about how this is possible. We'll figure it out. Actually, I have Patrick Mahomes with Kelsey and Kittle. Well, you need to go try and get somebody with Kelsey. It's hard to give up. Oh, that'd be tough to give up. Don't sell low. Start all 3 if you have to. Don't sell low. I'm new to the channel, but I'm liking the late videos since I'm on nights. Thank you, Chad. Bumpy Jones, I don't understand your dislike for Carson, the number 1 running back, team crusher. So what's Carson done to prove consistent? That's what I got to ask you. He's injury prone. Penny's there. We don't know that they're going to stick with one player at the right price. I like anybody, but I don't like Carson at his ADP, so it's more about that. Sand says, I love Damian and Mahomes duo. I love stacking that. You have Mahomes, Duke, Anderson, Westbrook, Fitz, Kelsey, Kittle, Damian. Nice team. Fantastic. 2 front runners, top 6 picks, 2 running backs, 2. Which side do I like? Hopkins, Thomas, Tyreek Hill, Carry-On, Montgomery versus Elliott, Bell, Fournette. I think I like the top one. Yeah, you were thinking Bell Rock? Definitely. He's higher. He's got a higher ADP for a reason, bro. Miles Sanders, no pass protection, fumbles too, says Roger. I'm not a Miles Sanders believer. I have wide receiver Brown. I assume you mean Antonio. Hilton, Westbrook. Should you try to trade for a stronger wide receiver too? You have Hilton and Brown. It depends on your running backs, man. But, I mean, those are okay as long as your running backs are strong. Or you have like a Mahomes and a good running back. You've got Lamar Miller in Dynasty. What should you do? You should pray for him, Garrett. I don't think he's going to have a serviceable career coming back. I don't know that he's droppable. Depends on your situation. But do I take Dontrell Hilliard, who I was just talking about a minute ago, over Lamar Miller? Probably in a Dynasty. I would. I don't know why. I just feel it. I just feel damn good about Dontrell Hilliard. I don't know why. He could be a nothing. He could be cut, or whatever down the way. But he looks fantastic. I love Dontrell Hilliard. I want to ring the bell right now and wake Miss Smitty up, but I think she'll kill me. So, yeah. Dontrell Hilliard. Hit that thumbs up for Dontrell Hilliard. If there's 241 people in the room and only 92 thumbs up, at least hit the thumbs up for Dontrell Hilliard. Let's make Dontrell Hilliard a homegrown favorite of the Fantasy Football Show, and let's see what happens. Let's see if we can develop some interest outside of our show, because I don't think anybody even knows who he is. I don't think people realize he's the backup to Nick Chubb right now. I don't think people realize that he was often used in that very, very important first drive where Baker was on fire, scored that touchdown. They were marching down the field. They were firing on all cylinders. They had Chubb looking good, and they were using Dontrell Hilliard. I love this guy. You the man, Smitty. Thoughts on Devin Singletary and Hunter Henry in Dynasty PPR? Thanks in advance. I think Devin Singletary is a potential steal as a flex player for 2019. Might take him a little bit to get going. It might not. Hunter Henry needs to prove things to me, but definitely in the top 5 to 10 conversation for tight ends because it's a very thin tight end pool. What is your take on Sony? I think he's a good running back with very little meniscus in his knees. Therefore, I like Damian Harris. Sutton or Sanders for Denver's wide receivers? I think Sutton. I think Sutton could be a star. He just needs to get consistent play. Top 3 tight ends. Top 3 tight end or number 2 wide receiver. Rock, I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, for trade? I don't know. Both Kelsey and Kittle should I just dominate with both in trade or trade one. I think you should potentially look to trade Kelsey for a Cook, Chubb, Evans, Odell, Pat Mahomes. If you can't get a big name player or Damian Williams, then stand pat. You don't sell low. Wait till Kittle goes through the roof. Don't sell Kittle before his value's high. Consider selling Kelsey high, and you can. Who has Devin Singletary? Oh, it's Smitty. That's right, buffoon. Nolan, what kind of value do you see for Ajayi? Who's Jay Ajayi? No, I'm kidding. Jay Ajayi has worse knees than Todd Gurley. So the role I see for him is to back up Todd Gurley, even though they're not even on the same team. Yo, Smitty, I'm worried about Houston's O-line, but do you think that Duke still can ball out there? So I think Duke does a lot of things for this team. I'm excited about Duke Johnson. Man, I don't know that I'd take him as high as I'm going to need to own him in 2019, but what he does for this football team, what he does for Hopkins, what he does for Watson, what he does for everybody like Will Fuller, if he stays healthy, is he makes it tough to contain and double these other guys because Duke is going to be elusive and all over the field. Duke was never given the opportunity to be a full-time runner. So just because he's never been a full-time guy doesn't mean he's not going to get a chance to be the full-time guy. So Duke Johnson is going to potentially be a 3-down back, and he's going to keep defenses very honest. This might help, in a sense, create some kind of false improvement of offensive line blocking because you have defenses stepping out and spreading out a little bit, trying to worry about where Duke's going to go. Lamar Miller was a threat on the ground, but he was okay. He's mediocre. Duke Johnson may not be elite of the elite, but he does a lot of things very well, and I think this is going to help create a sense of improvement all over for this offense, make them a very well-oiled machine, and a very efficient run game and a very efficient pass game will help protect Watson and give him more time. Watson was getting hit left and right last year. I owned him in several leagues, and I was holding my breath, cringing my teeth on almost every snap because he dropped back and get leveled. And I think that's going to change in 2019, and when that changes, and I think it will, this offense will be more productive. We will see Hopkins explode. We will see Will Fuller explode for as many games as he can give us, whether it's 2 games or 8 or 10. And Watson's going to have that year that he probably should have had last year. I'm really excited about Deshaun Watson. That's all I got to say about that. Baker's a beast. Terrence, you're a smart man. Brown, Hilton, and Dede, should you try and trade stronger? Oh, I already answered that one. You had 5th in a 10 team. Zeke, Odell, Freeman, Monty. God, how do you take Monty after Freeman? I mean, it's great. You did fantastic. You probably wouldn't have got Freeman if you'd not done that. So you made the right move. But it's just crazy to me that Monty, I see people's team and I'm like, I look at a lot of people's teams and I'm like, okay, Zeke, Odell, and then they have like a player that I'm, like a Carson. I know some of you like Carson, sorry. Earmuffs to all the Carson owners. But I see Carson and I'm like, yeah. And then all of a sudden I see Monty like 1 or 2 picks after that. I'm like, That's your third best player right there. The guy you took in the 5th or 6th round. How is this even possible? But nice team. I like it. Why would you give Kelsey? Because Kelsey's value is Odell Beckham Jr. capable of getting. I've got this running back powerhouse, says Kevin. Barkley, Kamara, and Monty. You do. That's fantastic. Let me post that for you right in the top corner. 5th round Baker or Aaron Rodgers. I think you go Aaron Rodgers. Baker's more of a 6th round guy. If you miss on Rodgers in the 5th round. You have Baker, safety net in the 6th round. I like to use that formula. That's why in 10 to 12 leagues I own one without fail of Mahomes, Rodgers, Baker, or Watson, because they're all spread out. And if I miss on one, I'm overactive in trying to get one of the others so I don't get sniped or screwed multiple times on my big name QBs that I love to own. So Rodgers 4th or 5th, Baker 6th. Would you draft Derrick Henry? Yes, in the 4th round, but not higher. What about Tevin Coleman? I think he's a 6th rounder and pretty damn good value. Thank you for the 100 thumbs up. I appreciate it, guys. 243 people in the room at freaking, what is it, 1:51 p.m. Eastern. You guys are nutbags. What are your thoughts on Melvin and Duke? I mean, Duke is a fantastic player to pair with Melvin, to kind of wait for Melvin to come back, if that's what you're saying, and I like that. I like that. That is a very, very good way to describe how you should be using Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson and Melvin together. Not same team, obviously, but the way that you can deploy that starting slot, and then Duke goes into your flex as soon as Melvin returns. Do you still think Tevin gets the work in San Francisco? I do. Will he be a 900 rushing yard guy and a lot of receiving action? Maybe. That could be the kind of role he has. It could be like that Devonta Freeman type of split workload. Hit that like and subscribe button, says Sand. Thank you, Sand. What do you think of Ajayi? I think Ajayi has worse knees than Todd Gurley. Like I said earlier in the show, you might have just joined us, no problem. Chubb, Carson, Juju, Montgomery, Cooks. Fantastic team. Smitty, it's going to be hard for me to go into the draft saying I'll be zero running back if the value isn't there. I don't find myself going as much zero running back as I anticipated in my 10 to 12 leagues, whatever amount I have. I need to count them so I can give you guys an exact number, because I keep saying 10 to 12. I find myself not going in that direction as often as I thought I would, because the balance is there. When the balance is there, you use the balance. You don't take the running back, or wide receiver unless you have to, because best player available dictates that you do. I often find that where there's Evans, there's Cook, or where there's Evans, there's Chubb, where there's Odell, there's Cook, and you can kind of pick and choose to go running back or wide receiver and keep that balance as you go. I don't find forced to go running back, or wide receiver like I thought I would in the 10, 11, 12 picks, or even the mid first rounders. Let's see. On the flex, who do we start? Allison and Njoku, Darwin, or Henderson. I think for right now, you probably start Allison and then just wait for Thompson or Henderson to pop. And Njoku you could. Or anyone to look on for waivers. So, I don't know. You have to tell me who's available. I have Mahomes, Elliott, Mixon, Duke, AB, Cooper, Hill, and feel the power. Jake says Mahomes, Elliott, Mixon, Duke, AB, Cooper. I like it. It's a really good team, bro. Running backs are David Johnson and Aaron Jones and Montgomery. Fantastic. I like that. Very good job. Yes, sir. I already have Dontrell Hilliard. Garrett, you were a smart man. I don't know how far behind him I am on the comments, guys. Sorry. Thoughts on Devin Singletary and Noah Fant? I love Singletary. He's a monster flex sleeper of mine. And Fant, we'll see. I wish I did fantasy football when Peyton Hillis was in Cleveland. I'm not sure why, Russell. He was pretty good, but he wasn't a guy that turns you into a super fan. But Hilliard is out there looking pretty good, says Terrence. Attaboy, Terrence. First 6 picks. Almost too long of a question, Digital, I'll admit. First 6 picks, PPR, Hopkins. I guess you're just giving your team. Never mind. Hopkins, Williams, Montgomery, Lockett, Rodgers, Boyd. I like it. Attaboy. That's fantastic. What is that, your grandma's league? Did you just pull one over on your grandma? Because that looks like a team where you took advantage of some people. Have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about either. Dontrell Hilliard is slightly better version of Duke Johnson. I love Hilliard. Did I tell you that yet? Did I tell you guys that I like Hilliard? I like Hilliard and Duke. Maybe I need to do a Hopkins auction. Hopkins, Mike Thomas, and and Devontae Adams and Pat Mahomes, and then start Dontrell Hilliard and Duke Johnson. Maybe that's what I need to do. Hey, Smitty, how is this for first 5 picks? David Johnson, Adams, Kittle, David Montgomery, and Galladay. I think you did fantastic, boy. Smitty, Chubb will be a beast this year, says Ice. Thank you, Ice, for telling me. I agree with you. And as I've been talking about, Dontrell Hilliard might be your saving grace, my friend. Smitty's been saying he liked Chubb all offseason. I've had Chubb all offseason. I will admit, Terrence, I have had Chubb all offseason. First 6 picks. Digital, you already did that. Digital, you already told us. I don't mind you posting it again. I'm just kidding. I know I've been behind. Higgins or Myers. That's a tough one, Jake. I think neither. If you're starting either, or if you're just picking them up, I guess Myers. Smitty, draft is tomorrow. First overall. I still feel strongly about DJ. Not first overall. Ghost. Who are you following, man? DJ first overall? No, bro. Trade down if you've got to, but DJ does not belong at number 1. Not even close, man. You can't pass on Barkley. You can't pass on McCaffrey. You can't pass on Kamara, especially Kamara. He's my 1.01. But trade down if you want DJ. Get the 5 pick. Move your first rounder or your second rounder up, or better yet, your third rounder into the bottom of the second or something. You gotta figure that out. I don't think you can do that. Don't take DJ at 1. Don't take DJ at 1, bro. Don't make me take a lap for even saying that. Where's our take a lap? Take a lap right now. You don't get to say that and get away with it. Where is it? Take a lap. You don't take DJ 1. If you do, I need you to send me a video clip of you taking a lap around your house, around your building, whatever it takes, but you don't take DJ 1. What about Alfred Blue, a proven veteran? I don't know. 245, yeah, 252, Poindexter. We're on fire right now. Freaking, this is a time to live stream, I guess. Shit. What are your thoughts on Melvin Gordon? Alexander, you must be just joining us because I've talked a lot about this. I love him in the 4th round. You're going to be upset at yourself if you don't take a gamble on Melvin Gordon, at least in one league at this value, whether it's trade or in a draft. Roll the dice once, because Melvin Gordon in the 4th round feels like you've counted the deck, and there's a really good chance that your dealer's going to flop on the next deal, and you're doubling down. That's how this feels with Melvin Gordon at 4th round value. You heard me? You heard me? What's your take on Russell Wilson? He's pretty efficient despite... I like Wilson. I don't think he turns Lockett into a beast like everybody thinks, but I think he does what he does. Wilson's a top 5 to 6 overall QB. He goes in the 10th round sometimes. That's very good value. Don't sleep on that at all. Pick 2 out of 4 wide receivers. Dede, Fitzgerald, Damian. Out of 4 wide receivers, I didn't see you list 4. Oh, Damian. I'm sorry. Damian Willis. I don't. Dede and Fitz, man, I guess. Trade Derrick Henry for Landry in PPR. Derrick Henry for Landry in PPR. I keep Henry. I think Landry's more of like a 6th or 7th rounder, and Henry's a 4th, man. You got to look at that value. You're totally taking it in the rear on that. I'm telling you guys, Montgomery is going to be a 4th or 5th. I love how this is Sand for you. He comes in as if as if no one's agreeing with him. I'm telling you guys, he's arguing with us. Yes, Sand, I agree with you. Daryl, Smitty, how do you feel about Crockett in fantasy? I see a lot of people drafting him. I don't know. We'll see. Question, Higgins, or you already said that, and I already said in Dynasty or something, Myers. My last year self was very dumb, and I tried to go all in by making moves with this year's pick, so I don't have many high picks. We'll probably try to tank and pick up a late round steal. I'd have to hear your Mango. I'd have to hear your situation, but I mean, It's hard to recover, but all it takes is that 1.01. So if you do get that, you'll be good. I don't know if tanking is illegal in your league, or if you can do it legitimately, then the 1.01 will help you. Tevin or Eckler in redraft? Tevin, bro. Tevin. Curtis, yo, Smitty. Man, I don't think I can get to the bottom of this. I think I just at some point just got to end it and not get to all these questions. But you guys keep adding them. You guys are full of them tonight. Smitty, yo. 1 QB. Okay. Hit the like button. Support the channel, says Sand. And he likes David Montgomery. I believe in Carson because he's a competitor and he's rose to the occasion. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like him at the right price, but not at third and fourth round value, bro. You know, some people are taking him at the tail end of second. 3.02. That's just way too high. Jake says this again. Duke Johnson, Hilliard. Terrence, I agree. I don't know what you agree with, but I agree with you. In a 10-team keeper league, unless you said something awful. Kyler, in a 10-team keeper league drafting from the 1.8, you got Devontae Adams and Julio Jones and Montgomery. I kept Connor in the 16th. You're golden, bro. You're golden. Smitty, this is good stuff, says Ice. Thank you, bro. Corey, are you still considering doing one more league? Yes, Corey, I am. You guys can talk me into it. I'm liking it. What do I think about Breda? I don't think much about Breda at all. Alexander, thanks, bro. Smash the likes. Thank you, sir. Carson runs so hard, says Terrence. That might be the case. Alexander says like. Everybody like. Thank you, Alexander. Might as well do another 23 hours of a live stream, Smitty. Great content tonight. Yeah, what are we at? We're at almost 2 hours. Damn. Yeah, maybe we should just keep going. Lag test sent at 1:52. This isn't a lag test, actually, Garrett. It's that I'm behind on questions, but it's more of like a how far back is Smitty on the questions. You have Big Ben, Hopkins, Thomas. Nice job. I like that team. Ty Johnson's going to eat into CJ Anderson's carries. Carry-on's the only safe running back. That might be true. Yo, says Curtis. 3 drafts. Sean Tell says Lindsey plus Royce Freeman equals pretty good. Yeah, I think that's if you're gonna stack at wide receiver early, that's not a bad approach. And Njoku is going to be a good tight end this year. I agree with you, Ice. I think Njoku's my number 4 tight end. Number 4. I think right after Ertz, it's Njoku. And I know, Smitty, how is she going to eat when there's so many mouths to feed at that Cleveland Browns dinner table? Well, let me tell you something. Baker Mayfield is going to stay in the kitchen night and day baking touchdowns, and he will deliver them personally to Njoku. He'll give him, I think, 7 to 8 to 9. I think he'll deliver 15 or 14 little touchdown cookies over to my boy Odell Beckham Jr. Odell touchdown catcher, I guess we could call him, and Baker touchdown maker. This is going to be a fun Cleveland Browns team to watch, and my Super Bowl tickets on the wall here, which I got laughed at. But now everybody, since the acquisition of Odell Beckham Jr., is liking it pretty good. Mahomes, Cook, Montgomery, Hopkins, Juju, and Njoku. Nice job. What up, Smitty? Nice team. Mike. I got Bell. Nice job. So much love for Hilliard. Only on this show. Only does Dontrell Hilliard get love on this show. No one else even knows who the guy is, but we do, and we're going to own him, aren't we? We're going to own him, we're going to go out and get him, and we're going to support him, and I'm going to try and get him on the show. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to post a post on Instagram, and I want everybody to tag him. If he even has an Instagram account, he might not even have one. But we're going to tag him and get him on the show. I take Dontrell Hilliard. And I could be wrong on the guy. I just get a weird, fuzzy feeling about Dontrell. The fuzzy feeling Hilliard. Dude, do you see Hawkinson? He looks like a young Jason Witten. Yeah, he does. I like Hawkinson a lot. Regular, any advice? Best player available, bro. Don't sleep on Monty in the 3rd or 4th. Don't worry about taking Mahomes early if you've got to. and make sure you grab those running backs that I always talk about: Darwin, Samuels, Madison, Darrell Henderson, all those guys in the 7 to 12 round range, and then stash them. Fantasy counselor says DJ at 1. Well, I don't. I say DJ at like 8 or 9. So we're about 7 picks off. But he's my boy. He's an entertaining guy, and I like having him on the show. He was fun to have on the 24-hour live stream. The fantasy contact DJ. Okay. Someone is watching too much counselor, says. This is God. I'm so behind. This is about the DJ comment way back. He's not going to finish anywhere near 1. God, I'm behind. I'm 99% sure. Hawkinson is bulk. God, I think I just got to skip. I'm going to go down to the bottom. Sorry, guys. If I missed your comment, post it new. Terrence Miller, keep dreaming. Who should take... I just want to catch up so we're all live, so I apologize. Julio, Ridley, Ryan, how do you feel? I like this passing attack. I think it'll be really good. Go Texans, go Bears. Devin Singletary is not good at football, says Sand. Really? Devin Singletary is not good at football? Sand, do we disagree on something? I love Devin Singletary. Hilliard does have an Instagram. Daryl's checking it out. I'm going to put a post on him, and we're going to tag him. I just hate his combine matrix and don't want Smitty promoting him. Who? You talking about Devin Singletary? What software do I use to make video editing? I use Final Cut Pro X. Now that we're caught up, it's a little nicer to... I feel like I was so behind on questions, guys. Sorry. Yeah, so good mock draft tonight. I like that. I like the Dontrell Hilliard topic. I think no one's talking about this. Bruce was saying he hated Devin Singletary. Oh, okay. Sand, I knew you weren't a hater of Devin Singletary. That didn't sound right. Bruce doesn't like his matrix. Well, I'll tell you what, Bruce. You know what I like? I like evidence. And when Devin Singletary is breaking ankles like a crossover point guard on the football field, he is going to, I think, turn you into a believer for the first time. Curtis Brown, love the content, Smitty. Like this channel, people. We are winning championships with them. Thank you, Curtis. I appreciate it. 12 team, would you trade Dalvin Cook for Devontae Adams? I think Adams has a higher ADP, so you just got to kind of make sure you get more if you're going to do that kind of swap. Cook, Montgomery, Freeman. Trade Cook for Adams. Yeah, I probably would. I mean, I like Cook, though, but I think that's just good value. Spicy draft tonight, guys. Thanks for the advice, says Curtis. You're welcome. Peanut Butter says, I just love football. Terrence, Odell Beckham Jr. is a head case. He's not going to help the Browns win. Yeah, well, Tommy, we'll see. We'll see, Tommy. We'll see. Shady and Gore, too much. No. How do you get one of your mocks? So, Nicholas, when I do a mock draft, I just post a link right in the chat here. I go live. Make sure you subscribe, Nicholas. Hit that bell. Turn on your notifications. And when I go live, you'll be notified. And so you'll get in here and I'll be like, guys, we're mock drafting. And then I'll post the link. I'll give it about 2 or 3 minutes for people to fill the room up. I'll post the link in the first 11 people to click on it, get in the mock, bro. So you can get in too. I'm higher on Miles Sanders, says Sand. That's okay. Singletary is a landmine. I love Singletary. Any faith in Smoke Brown? I don't know. Singletary or Hilliard? Singletary. Hilliard's Hilliard's on waivers, man. Singletary you can get in the 7th round. They're far apart, but I want both. Bruce, agree, Smitty needs to get behind Miles Sanders' train. I'm sorry, Bruce says agree. Smitty needs to get behind Miles Sanders' train. I'll keep an eye out for the train, and if I want to jump on, I'll jump on. 5 wins max for the Browns. Give me a break. Peanut Butter, I don't do this for everybody that calls stuff out, so don't expect it, guys. But Peanut Butter, free 2020 subscription to you if the Browns don't win more than 5 games. Okay, so come back and collect. Still appreciate you, Peanut Butter, because you love football, and we love you. Got the first pick in a big money league tomorrow. Should I keep Ridley, Lockett in the 5th? Worried Damien or Fournette won't be there. Ridley in the 5th is like about right, so I don't know. That's amazing keep, but I mean it's not bad either. Terrence says, you smoking? We won 7 games last year. Dynasty draft tomorrow morning. Singletary or Mecole Hardman? Singletary, bro. Are you worried about Amari's foot? I'm always worried about Amari. I don't know why. 235 people watching. Only 105 likes. What the F, people, says Curtis. That's what Curtis says. Had John Brown last year. Don't draft him, says Ice. This dude said that Brown's going to win 5 games, y'all. Singletary went undrafted in my 10-team league. Will consider picking him up. Please answer my question. Okay, ask it again. Deal, says Peanut Butter. Well, you the man, Peanut Butter. I still like you. Browns win 5. Yeah, the Browns are going to win. Devin, I'll look for your question. Tommy, I'm hoping Zeke and the Cowboys reach an agreement before week 1. Tommy, I'm still drafting Zeke at number 4. Even if you guaranteed missed week 1 and week 2, I would still draft him number 4, and I'd take Tony Pollard, and I'd be fine. Oh, and for saying that the Browns aren't going to win, I will give you a free subscription, but you need to take a lap for that comment, Peanut Butter. Just saying. That's a ridiculous comment. 5 wins? Take a lap. When do you see the Eagles go with the lead back? I don't. Sanders will probably, I think, eventually get close to starter-type touches for as long as he can handle it, and then we'll see from there. Trolling? I don't know. Am I trolling? I don't know. 3 down back. Jacobs or Montgomery. Anthony, don't ask that. Anthony, take a lap. This is for Anthony. He asked Jacobs or Montgomery. Come on. You know what the answer is, Montgomery. We are Montgomery people here, Anthony. I still appreciate you. And Andrew needs to take a lap for saying Jacobs. Yeah, you got to be trolling, or you just a hater, or don't know. FB, pick which one applies. Who are you talking to, Terrence? I know you're not talking to me. Besides Bears, what defense do you like? I love the Browns, bro. I know that some people in here don't like them, but I think that Grady, this is a fantastic defense. It's going to score a lot of points. I was thinking Josh Adams was the guy for a few weeks there. Yeah, that's a perfect example, Sand. Anthony, take a lap. Terrence, laughing. Smitty, Pollard showed patience and ran like a pro. What are your thoughts on Pollard? I think he's a must handcuff to Zeke Elliott, and he makes me very confident in drafting Zeke number 4 overall. Even if I thought that Zeke would be out 2 games for sure, I'd still draft Zeke at 4 and pair him to my boy Pollard. I'm praying Mahomes is available in the 3rd. Yeah, man. I'm so mad I don't own Mahomes in more leagues. I own him in like 1 or 2 leagues. I'm so bummed. People keep sniping him from me. The Antonio Brown bus meter lighting up for you yet? Yeah, I still want to own him though. I don't know why, but like late 3rd round, early 4th. Oh, Peanut Butter. Okay, Terrence, I knew you weren't talking about me. Jets defense will be a sleeper, says Bruce. Broncos D, says Ray. Lakers 2020 champ says, I like the Cowboys defense. I'm telling you, the Browns are going to be fantastic. Don't sleep on the Browns as a sleeper defense. I love the Browns this year all around. And I'm not just like a Brown. I love the Browns. I'm not just a Browns homer. I can be honest. Like I'm in Arizona, and I can be honest about the Cardinals. I'm excited about the Cardinals for the first time. I'm very pessimistic every year about the Cardinals, but I'm very able to keep my bias out of this fantasy football analysis. I always have been. You picking Zeke 2nd overall? It's not bad. Just make sure you get Pollard. Bears D will be worth the price. Zeke, Connor, Mahomes, Carson. Nice. So Zeke at 4, absolutely. I'm not drafting AB, says Sand. Shout out from Jamaica. What's up, Bumpy? PAFFAS. I didn't know that was you, Bumpy. Attaboy. Bumpy, I had no idea that was you. This guy, Bumpy Jones, has probably been with me longer than anybody in this chat. Unless Crapman's here. I think Crapman's been here about as long. I don't know if he's in here. But Bumpy Jones has been a follower of mine since, 2004 or 5, Bumpy? That's when I started, and I was on NBC Sports Radio. Started doing the bold predictions. Started up my site. And Bumpy Jones was one of my first followers back, 16 years ago? Bumpy. I had no idea that was you, Bumpy. So, Bears D, will you draft Zeke? Yeah, the guy in your league will try and draft Pollard. You have to be smart about it. 7th round is not crazy. Dog pound. Bills or Browns? I'm going Browns, man. Browns are like my number 3 or number 4 defense, and I'm not saying draft them necessarily right there, but wait on your defense and then take them. That's my thinking. With the Colts falling, the Titans suck. Bottom third schedule. Do you think that the Jags have a shot at the division? Sure. A shot. Larry Fitzgerald, a good late rounder. Jags D over the Bears? No, I don't think so. But whatever. Do you think it can get to week 8? I don't know what you're asking there. Bumpy. Yep, Bumpy. 16 years or 15 or 4. I don't know when you join Extreme, but you have to be in the 16 to 14 range with me. Jamaica. Terrence Odell Beckham Jr. throwing a fit by week 5. No, he's happy, man. He's playing with his best friend. This is the first year Odell's going to be okay not scoring a touchdown in a game because they're winning. He doesn't know what that feels like. How do you feel about David Montgomery week 1 against Green Bay? Debating between flexing him or Eckler. Dude, Montgomery, bro. Montgomery's your guy. What about D-Hop at 4? It's not crazy, but I think he's my 5. I'm just taking Zeke. But you wouldn't be crazy to take D-Hop at 4. We need to get Smitty verified on Instagram. We do. How do we do that, Poindexter? How do we do that? We need to write articles and do different things. And I'm all over. I mean, I'm on CBS Sports Radio. I've got news and media postings, but I think a lot of that helps you get verified. So we're waiting. If you guys can help Poindexter and you know of a way, get on it, boy. Can see you 65-plus targets for Leonard Fournette. We'll see. Zeke signing this Friday, says Sand. That would be awesome. Hunter, Redfro, or Preston Williams. I think both are about the same. Both are kind of exciting guys to pick up. What do you think about Cam's injuries? Not too concerned. It doesn't affect McCaffrey at all. Browns go 0-2. What happens, Andrew? I don't know. Then they win 2 more. Then they're 2-2, and then they're excited. You think Melvin Gordon is worth keeping? Worth keeping? Daniel, of course. It depends on the value, but, I mean, I love him in the 4th round. Debo or Dante Pettis. Debo. I think Debo is going to have a surprisingly good rookie year. Don't worry about Cam. He'll be fine come week 1, says Ice. Do you think Zeke's situation can last until week 8? No. Zeke wants to play. He's working out right now. You don't hold out. He's calling their bluff. He's trying to get paid. There's word that he's going to get near Todd Gurley money. They'll just move things around. Zeke will play week 1, or they just missed the cutoff. I'm pretty confident Zeke's going to play week 2. I think Gordon will be sitting out the whole season. I don't think so, Lakers. Le'Veon Bell's situation was not good. He didn't gain anything from that. He lost $20 million sitting out. He would have already earned $20 million playing last year on the contract that the Steelers offered him last. And if he had signed his tender, he would have made the exact same money he's making this year already last year and be making it again this year. So he would be making 30 million by the end of this year versus 14. He would have already made 20 in Pittsburgh and be making another 10 or whatever and be at 30 million. He's literally 14 to 15 million dollars in the hole by not playing. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy that people argue that it worked out well, and I don't think Melvin Gordon's going to go down that road. I just don't. What's up? Got Monty in the 6th last night. Get out of here, Wes. 6th round? That's robbery. Everyone hasn't already subscribed to Sleeper U. It's very interactive. Thank you, Sand. I'll put that up for you. David, I did 0 running back first 2 rounds and ended up with Aaron Jones and David Montgomery as your running backs. That's fantastic, David. My running backs are Zeke, DJ, Henry, and Montgomery. Thoughts? I think that's fantastic. And you took advantage of your grandma, Seth, because only your grandma league would let you get away with that, or you just completely steamrolled your league. Sonny Michel, odds of leading the league in TDs. I think he gets hurt. Bell, obviously. How do you feel about Sterling Shepard, half PPR? I think he's okay. Wes says, I'm not kidding. What up, Smitty? Got Monty. Yeah, nice job. Yeah, Sony's gonna have a tough time playing 16 games. That's what I think. That's what I think about that. All right, guys. I think I'm ending it for tonight. We've been on for 2 hours and 11 minutes. Man, we're on our way to another 24-hour live stream. Please visit sleeperu.com. I give one-on-one advice on the site with the $29 for the whole season. The Fantasy Football Show. If you ever lose the Fantasy Football Show YouTube channel, you just go to thefantasyfootballshow.com and it transfers you right over to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Please hit like. Please tell your friends. If you can't tell your friends directly in your league, tell people at the water cooler or in people at your work that don't necessarily play in hardcore leagues with you. Just share the advice and please let people know about it. Not only did you take advantage of your grandma, but your wide receivers are also Julio. Get out of here, Seth. Abusing people left and right. Anthony just got on. Sorry, Anthony. There's a lot of good content to rewatch, including a mock draft. But I might do this Thursday night. So we'll maybe go live about the same time Thursday night. Maybe do a mock and then a Q&A because this worked out pretty well. Freaking 225 people still in the room hanging out. Even though I said I was leaving, you guys aren't going anywhere, so I haven't left yet. Maybe I don't leave. Maybe 221. It dropped. If you drop, I'm dropping. Don't drop. Don't drop. Later, Terrence. Great live, Smitty. Thanks, Poindexter. Okay, I better go. Peace out. I appreciate every one of you.